With magic gods, right-hand users, transcendents, and secret chiefs, the world of Toaru has many ridiculously overpowered characters now, that being able to destroy the planet is cute compared to the heavy hitters at the top of the food chain. Power scaling fans love Index for a reason, but it begs the question, who the hell is the strongest character at the moment in the story? I wish it was clear cut. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have to make this video. But goddamn, there are just so many unknowns right now that it feels impossible. But screw it, I'm gonna use my head for a change and try to come to a conclusion. Just don't get butthurt over my opinions about fictional characters, okay? At the end of the day, only Kamachi and his editors likely know this shit, and maybe the people who actually read Index in the language it's intended to be read, as some finer details can often be lost in translation. So, us uneducated gaijin English-speaking fans probably don't have a clue compared to the Japanese side of things. We just have to make crappy YouTube theory videos about it instead. Or I guess that's just me. Honestly, I would have made a new top 10 strongest characters video, since my previous ones have aged like stale milk. Plus, plenty of new OP characters have been added since then in Genesis Testament, the third light novel series of Index, which does indeed make my previous list outdated. The problem is that I literally physically cannot bring myself to make that video again. Like, the strength of the characters is too ambiguous in my opinion. The best example is the main character himself, Kamijo Toma. Like, we all know he has some OP BS in his right arm, but the dragons are too busy hibernating most of the time, and we have little idea about the full extent of Toma's full power. Alright, we know his fish eggs were pretty strong since they split a ship in half, but not just any ship. One that has a temple that produced a barrier which could only be broken with enough power to destroy the world, which in Toaru context means the universe. However, the fish eggs were used inside the temple and the barrier, so it didn't exactly break through it, as it only works one way, to block out outside interference, not anything on the inside. So I guess that feat is redundant. The point is, we have to come up with a headcanon or use statements like Alistair saying, "Huh, that right arm stuff sure is scary," to theorize where peak Toma would place on the tier list. And this isn't just Toma, it's most of Toaru top tiers, like Iwaz being strong enough to overpower all magic gods when he supposedly has a physical avatar, and yet we haven't seen anything comparable to that. Hell, Anna Sprengel can supposedly one-shot him at full power, and yet she seems nowhere near as strong as Ophinis at full power, for example. But yet again, we haven't seen her at full power. You see where I'm getting here? We haven't seen any of these characters at full power yet. So it's just like, who's stronger than who? I have no idea. And then you have Kuronzon, supposedly being stronger than Iwaz according to statements, and yet gets physically overrun by multiple double-nerfed magic gods. Not even the ones at full power. Well, it might be because Kuronzon nerfed herself by descending the tree of Sephiroth, so she could interact with the physical world. As when she's at the top of the tree or merge with Da'at in the abyss, I guess that should be her strongest form. But at the same time, in this form, she can't interact with the physical world, so it's pretty pointless. If you're struggling to understand this, it's kinda like how Gandalf in Lord of the Rings gets a mortal physical form and yet is a far stronger angel in another realm at the same time. Again, we've never seen this version of Kuronzon, so we just don't know. I could go on and on and on. The only characters near the top we have seen in their prime is Ophinis with Gungnir and the true magic gods for like one scene. And I guess Alistair maybe? I don't know. And to make matters even more complicated, recently we have had the Transcendents introduced, who each can rival the power of the magic side on their own, by borrowing their strength from mysterious higher dimensional beings known as the Secret Chiefs, with Iwaz being one of them. But I must specify, I think when it says the magic side, it's referring to the human magic side rather than the magic side including between the gods. As Neptis in NT14 specifies there's a difference between the human magic side and all magic entities, as I don't see the Transcendents beating any of the true magic gods in their prime. Anyway, the strongest of the Transcendents was Alice, who had reality warping magic, I guess similar in nature to what the gods can do, but it just functions differently. Again, another character we haven't seen the full power of, because if we did, we might have a similar situation to NT8 where the universe gets wiped. I guess we'll have to wait until Alice shows her true strength. Or not. She got casually one-shotted by Christian Rosenchad. Although knowing Kamachi, she might get revived in the next volume, so let's just see. Nevertheless, the death of Alice was much to the despair of her personal simp. I mean butler. So now, currently, we have an even stronger foe to deal with in the story with CRC. But how does he even compare to the magic gods or the mysterious secret chiefs? You see, at the moment in the story, there seems to be a never-ending cycle in terms of introducing strong as fuck characters, but their upper limit doesn't seem to be concretely defined, and it just makes power scaling this verse really goddamn hard. Listen, I love Genesis Testament a lot, if you haven't seen my videos about it already. So this is more of a nitpick if anything. Like, it's not a huge deal for me, but at the same time, I would like to see more of the stronger characters show off their source. But I guess on the other hand, that's kind of difficult since the magic gods can casually destroy and create universes, so compared to that, it would just be a repeat of the Office arc if they did show off their true power. I don't know. Oh yeah, I haven't even talked about Accelerator yet, because the people who are casually into the franchise probably think he's still the strongest character in the verse. Except he never was, because Alistair was in OT2. We saw a glimpse what he can do with his new power-up, the Platinum Wings, where he can shake the galaxy. But that might as well be a fraction of what he is now capable of. Hopefully he pulls the get out of jail card soon and showcases more of his power-up, which might cause Ophinus to fangasm harder than seeing Aradia naked. Alright, I should stop going around in circles now. Who do I honestly think is the strongest being in Toaru? Honestly, I could see it being one of the secret chiefs, or a Phalemic god we haven't seen. That is unless an omnipotent god does exist in the Toaru universe that we don't know about, then that would have to be them, I guess. Alright, I'll stop diverting and give you a straight answer if I can, because I don't think there is a clear-cut answer. If you went over to me and asked, Aeon, cut the bullshit excuses, give me your strongest character in this series right now, then it would have to be Biagio. Just kidding. Okay, I think it entirely depends on where CRC ranks. As, could he be magic god level despite being human like Alistair? Or could he be stronger than the full gods? Maybe not. Considering the gods have the ability to nuke the world with their physical presence alone, then likely not. Legit, the only characters I could see even surviving the magic god's presence are Alistair because he directly did that, and then maybe Iwaz and Coronzon due to their higher level of existence. In terms of pure feats, and from scaling to Ophinus, the true magic gods still have to be the strongest in my eyes. But if you take into account theories and other loose statements, then it might have to be CRC, considering he's likely stronger than both the Annas and Alistair. I guess Iwaz remains unclear, since it was stated Anna Sprengel can kill Iwaz in one shot at full power, which I mentioned earlier, which is pretty impressive because Iwaz is meant to be really hard to kill due to his existence being linked to the pure world beyond the phases, or layers of reality covering the Index universe. I'm just hella curious to see what CRC is truly capable of, and if there's anything currently in the story that is able to stop him, unless there is an Alistair Keikaku in the works that will work against him. Let me know in the comments, who do you think the strongest character is? And if you're braver than me, share your top 10 strongest characters in the series, whether that is currently as of GT8 or the franchise as a whole. And don't forget to check out these videos on screen right now if you're curious about some of the characters I mentioned and how powerful they are.